name is Pat Carroll. Welcome to my workshop. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the technology that I use in my wood turning. Over the years, hollow forms have been my passion. I predominantly turn them out of unseasoned wood because it's a lot easier to turn. But in this process, I sometimes turn them twice. What I mean by that is, as with a bowl, for example, we would rough it out from the unseasoned wood, leave it to dry for a period of time, and then come back and finish it. And I would do the same with some of my hollow forms. The other thing that I sometimes do is I will take that unseasoned piece of timber and bring it to a 2mm wall thickness, for example, if I want to do some of my erosion work where I pierce it and do the pyography. I will turn it all the way down to uniform wall thickness. So the level of difficulty there is to get a very consistent wall thickness that when I pierce through, it will look consistent throughout. So there are multiple calipers out there on different types, and I still use my calipers, but in the last couple of years I've started to employ technology to try be more consistent and more exact and precise with my wall thickness. To help me achieve this, I've been using some technology from a company called Spexor, who I'm delighted to be working with. And these guys really listen to people, so with some ideas that we discussed, they have brought out some even more new equipment. So let me show you those. So here we have the first model, Spexor 1. This will do up to 20mm of a wall thickness and measure it very, very accurately. So during discussions, as I said, I make some large hollow forms. I would like to have maybe 25mm of a wall thickness if it was of a large piece, allowing for distortion and movement, and that gives me some timber to play with in the wall thickness. So as this only went up to 20mm, I once again found myself a little bit limited. But the guys at Spexor, they came up trumps, and let me show you. This is what the guys at Spexor come up with. Okay, so it looks the same. The difference is this will now go up to 30mm and go really, really accurately. As with any technology, of course, price increases and one thing and another, but during this discussion, Spexor also answered that. So here we have the Spexor Mini. These guys really listen to people when they give them comments or feedback, and this is what they come up with. An affordable model, very small as you can see, and this can also be calibrated up to 30mm. But as with any technology, we have the expensive items, and this one is cheaper. So it's also just that little bit of tolerance in the accuracy. I believe it's something like 0.2 of a millimeter. Well, you say that's not a huge amount, and it's actually not a huge amount in the grand scale of things of traditional hollow form wall thickness. But if you wanted to be really precise, well then the other guys are the tool for you. But this is a fantastic bit of kit, and it's quite simply powered up with the USB cable here that plugs into the adapter, and there we go. So the ball bearing here, which is magnetic, if I just remove that back, we can just see the distance that I move it away, and you can see it going up. And let's just go to, there's 30.5, and I am still moving away and it's lost contact. So as I bring it back, there we go, you can see it now starting to change again. So they're really good bits of kit. This is a fantastic little item here for the size of it and what it can do. The magnet is really, really strong on these, as you can see, and works really, really well. So let's just take a closer look at the other models as well. So here we have Spexor 1. Plugged into the same power source, and what we have here, generally you just recommend it, just press the button and it just resets it. Okay, so then we're always calibrated back to 0 and we can ensure our accuracy is good. So we have here our decimal point, just to, as on the other display, and just to show how accurate this is. So this one will go up to 20mm. So if I just take the bearing and move it away, we can see now that it's going up, and again it stopped at 20.5, and as I move further away, but as I come back, re-engages, and it just gives that accurate measurement. Really precise. I've been using this model for a while and I'm absolutely delighted to now have Spexor 2. Spexor 2 works in the very same way. Always recommended just to press the reset button, and if we just do the test on this one now, we can now just see the distance of the bearing away from the probe. So now we're up to the same as Spexor 1, and if we keep going we can get up to our 30 millimeters, and as you can see that is a rather large, it's actually going a little bit higher, 31.5 on this model. So it works really well, really helps to get a good wall thickness, because if you've a large piece of wood and it's a valuable piece of wood, you want to get that exact wall thickness to help that dry consistently and minimize chances of it cracking due to an irregular wall thickness. This is the tool to help you. Hollow forms can have several levels of difficulty for various reasons. The size, the shape, and the size of the opening. So generally when we see hollow forms, we have this wide shoulder and a small opening. There's no reason why you can't make them with a larger opening, of course. And there are calipers that will get around some of these to a degree, but out here in this area it can be very difficult to get an accurate measurement. As I said, I like to get my accuracy when I'm piercing. So let's just have a look at how you will use Spexor on a hollow form. So this is a hollow form that I made a number of years ago, and it was roughed out and left to dry, and it's ready for finishing now. But back when I would have roughed out this, taken out the center, I would have used calipers. So let's just have a look and see how good my measurements were. So I have the unit just sitting here in front of me, but just to point out, all the units have magnets on them as well. So you can safely stick them to the bed of the lathe somewhere or on the headstock to keep it out of the way. And the other thing is, when we're going to use this tool, we generally try to clean the shavings out of it. If the bearing happens to come disconnect from the piece for some reason, we just simply insert the probe into it and it will pick it up again. And that just quite simply works. It will always fall to the lowest point here of the form. So we suggest to clean out your shavings prior to measuring, which you're going to have to do anyway. And then just do your tests on it. So let's have a look and see what our wall thickness is. So if I just pop on here. Now, so we're starting off there at 7.5. Roughly 7.53. So without moving it, to show the accuracy of the probe, if I tilt this in the same position, you can see how much that is having an effect on it. So it's important for a very accurate reading that we keep it 90 degrees to the surface of the wood. We can see the way it's altering. So here out on the difficult area, let's see how I did. And we are now, I saw 8 millimeters there at one point. So it's not too bad. Excuse the cable. 8.72. So now we're gone up to 9.5. So we had 7.5 here. I have 2 millimeters more over here. And now as I bring it around, and we're now gone up to 10.5. So there's 3 millimeters more there. This may not seem like a lot in the grand scheme of things. And I'm just trying to keep it at 90 degrees to the wood. And we're now gone up to 12, so it's increasing. And let's see how I did down here. So we've just under 13 millimeters. And now as I bring it around, we're now heading for 14 almost. It's not just for closed forms. If you're doing large bowls, up to 30 millimeters obviously, or large platters, that you don't have a calipers to go in around on the surface, well, this tool could be really useful for you. It'll always also work on vases and that type of a thing. So really handy tool. And now, of course, that we have the Spexor Mini in the range, we can go from this little guy up to this guy. And of course, we have Spexor 1 right in the middle. So a lot of options. So if you're interested and you want more information, please get in touch. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting. It just shows where wood turning is involving technology now. It's becoming more and more involved with our wood turning. In this area at least, it can help us so much to help save timber, dry timber correctly, getting that correct wall thickness. So hope you enjoy that. Thank you very much.